You're fired. Marlon Brando looked at the director. Calm. No visible reaction. Okay. He stood, walked toward his trailer. The crew watched in silence. Nobody moved to stop him. Nobody knew if they should. The director stood there, script in hand, watching Brando disappear around the corner of the soundstage. Day one of principal photography, the star just fired, before a single frame had been shot. The producer ran after Brando, caught up outside his trailer. "Marlon, wait." "I'm fired," Brando said. "Not angry, just factual. I'm leaving. Let me talk to him. He made his choice. I'm respecting it." Brando went into the trailer, emerged 5 minutes later with his jacket and a book, walked to his car, drove off the lot. The producer stood there, watching the empty parking space, wondering how to explain this to the studio. This was how it started. The firing everyone would talk about. The decision that nearly destroyed a major film. The moment a director learned that being right and being smart were two different things. 4 hours earlier. Marlon Brando arrived at the studio at 7 a.m., on time, calm. He went to his trailer, reviewed his scenes for the day. Not the full script, just his scenes, the pages where his character appeared. That's all he ever read. That's all he ever needed. By 8 a.m., he was in makeup. By 8:30, on set. The director was setting up the first shot, a simple scene. 2 characters, 4 pages of dialogue. Good way to start production, build confidence, get everyone comfortable. The director saw Brando, walked over, friendly, first day energy. "Marlon, good morning. Ready?" "Ready." "Great. So this scene picks up right after the confrontation in the warehouse. You know, the scene with Marcus and the briefcase?" Brando looked at him. "What scene?" The director smiled, thought he was joking. "The warehouse scene, pages 47 through 52. "I haven't read that." "What do you mean?" "I read the scenes my character is in." The director's expression changed. Confusion, then concern. "You're joking." "No." "Marlon," the director's voice got careful, the tone you use when you think someone's confused. "You read the full script, right?" "I read the scenes my character is in." "But not the full script." "No." The director stared at him. "Why not?" "Because my character isn't in those scenes. He doesn't know what happens in them, so I don't need to know either." The director looked around, like someone would step in and explain this was a prank. Nobody did. The crew was setting up lights, the other actor was reviewing his lines. Normal first-day activity. "Marlon," the director's voice was still controlled, still professional, but strange showing. "You need to read the whole script, for context, to understand the story." "I understand my character's story. That's what I need." "But your character exists in a larger narrative. You need to know what's happening around him."
My character doesn't know what's happening around him. Why should I? The director's jaw tightened. Because you're an actor, you need the full picture to make informed choices. I make informed choices based on what my character knows. If I know things he doesn't know, I'm not playing him. I'm playing me pretending to be him. The director set down his coffee cup. Too hard. It rattled against the table. This is not how professional actors work. This is how I work. Every other actor on this film read the full script. Good for them. You're telling me you showed up to a major production without reading the screenplay? I read every scene I'm in. That's my job. Your job is to serve the film, the whole film, not just your character. Brando's expression didn't change. My job is to serve my character. The film is your job. The director's face was flushing now. You don't think this is disrespectful to me, to the writer, to everyone who worked on this script? I think it's disciplined. It's lazy. Call it what you want. The producer had been watching from near the monitors. He approached now, cautious. "Guys, let's take a beat. We can work this out." The director didn't look at him, kept his eyes on Brando. "Will you read the full script before we shoot another scene?" "No." "Why not?" "I just explained why." "That's not an explanation, that's a justification for not doing your job." Then we disagree on what my job is. The director took a breath, trying to control himself. Marlon, I need actors who are prepared, who understand the full story, who can make choices based on complete information. If you can't do that, then maybe— He stopped, realized what he was about to say. The producer's hand went up, warning. Brando waited. Maybe what? The director looked at the producer, at the crew pretending not to listen, at the script in his hand, at Brando's completely calm face. Maybe you're not right for this production. Silence. The set went quiet. Someone's walkie-talkie crackled, got turned off quickly. Are you firing me? Brando asked, tone neutral, just asking for clarification. The director's throat moved. If you can't work professionally, then yes, we'll find someone who can. Okay. The director blinked. Okay? You're the director. You make that choice. I'm serious. I believe you. You're fired. I understand. Brando stood. No argument, no anger, no attempt to negotiate. He just stood, looked at the director once more, then walked toward his trailer. The producer followed him. Marlon, wait, let me talk to him. He made his decision. You can't just leave. I was fired. I'm leaving. The producer watched him go, then turned back to the director. What the hell did you just do? My job, the director said, but his hand was shaking. By noon, the studio knew. By 1 p.m., they were in emergency meetings. By 2 p.m., they were making calls.
The director sat in his office, staring at the script, wondering if he'd just destroyed his career. The producer came in, closed the door. They want to know if you're sure. About what? About firing Brando on day 1. He refused to read the script. He read his scenes. That's not enough. The producer sat down. They're asking if we can get him back. He won't come back. Did you ask? He walked off the lot. That's his answer. So what do we do? The director looked at the script, all the scenes with Brando's character, the whole film built around him. We recast. In 1 day? We don't have a choice. The producer was quiet for a moment. There's an actor, good actor, Marcus Webb. He's available, been wanting to work with you. Can he start tomorrow? If we pay him enough, call him. Marcus Webb arrived the next morning at 6 a.m., enthusiastic, prepared. He'd read the full script twice, made notes, everything the director had wanted. I'm ready, Marcus said, whatever you need. They shot the same scene planned for Brando. Marcus hit every mark, delivered every line, professional, competent. The director watched the monitor. It was fine, technically fine, but something was missing. Day 3, they shot a confrontation scene. Marcus prepared extensively, 8 takes, each one technically good. That evening, the director sat in the editing bay, reviewing dailies. Marcus in every frame, doing good work. The director pulled up Brando's screen tests from months ago, test footage, not even the scenes they'd planned to shoot. He watched, Brando on screen, not performing, existing. The camera loved him, every moment unpredictable, real. He switched back to Marcus, watched the confrontation again. Marcus was acting, doing it well, but acting. Brando hadn't been acting. He'd been being. The director sat there, staring at the monitors, Marcus's footage, professional, prepared, exactly what he'd asked for, and completely wrong. The producer found him there at midnight. You're still here? Watching dailies. And? The director didn't answer for a long time. We made a mistake. We? I made a mistake. The producer sat down. I know. Marcus is good. Marcus isn't Brando. No. You need to call him. The director picked up the phone, set it down. What do I say? The truth. We need him. The film needs him. And if he says no, then we finish with Marcus and hope it's good enough.
The director dialed. It rang 4 times. He almost hung up. Then Brando answered. "Hello? Marlon? It's me." Silence. "We need to talk," the director said. "About what?" "About you coming back." More silence. The director could hear Brando breathing on the other end. Nothing else.
"I fired you," the director continued, "because you wouldn't read the full script. I remember. Have you read it yet?" "No." The director closed his eyes. "If you came back, would you?" Long pause. Then, "No." "Why not?" "I already explained why. Your character doesn't know what happens in other scenes." "Right. And you won't make an exception, even to come back." "No." The director opened his eyes, looked at the monitors. Marcus's face frozen on screen. "Good actor, wrong actor." "If I bring you back," the director said slowly, "you do it your way?" "I do it the way that serves the character." "You won't read the full script?" "No." "You'll only know what your character knows?" "Yes." The director thought about the studio, about explaining this, about his ego, about what mattered more. "Okay," he said. "Okay? Come back." Another silence. Then, "Tomorrow?" "Tomorrow." "Same call time?" "Same call time." Brando hung up. The director sat there holding the phone. The producer was watching him. "He's coming back?" "Yes." "Did he agree to read the script?" "No." "And you're okay with that?" The director looked at Marcus's screen test still playing on the monitor. "I don't have a choice. He's right and I'm wrong. That's all there is to it." The next morning, Brando arrived at 7 a.m., walked onto the set like nothing had happened. The crew watched him, uncertain. The director approached. "Marlon, good morning." They looked at each other. The director wanted to say something. Apologize, maybe. Explain. Brando's expression stopped him. It said, "We're here to work, not discuss." "Let's work," the director said. "Okay." They shot the first scene, the one they'd tried to shoot 5 days ago, the one that started everything. Brando delivered it in one take. Perfect. Not technically perfect, actually perfect. The character alive, present, reacting. Everything Marcus couldn't access in 3 days, Brando found in one take. The director watched the monitor, felt something loosen in his chest that had been tight since the firing. "Print that," he said. They shot 4 more scenes that day, each one better than what they'd gotten with Marcus. Not because Brando was more talented, because Brando's method worked. His limitation was his strength. That evening, the director approached him. "About what I said, the first day. We're working, that's all that matters. I called you unprofessional. I know. I was wrong." Brando looked at him. "You weren't wrong that I don't work like other actors. You were wrong that it's unprofessional. What's the difference?" "Professional means doing the job well, not doing it the way everyone else does." The director nodded. "Fair." Brando picked up his script, only his scenes, walked toward his trailer. The director called after him. "Marlon." Brando turned. "How'd you know it would work?" Not reading the full script. Brando studied him for a moment. "Because I've been doing this longer than you've been alive, and I learned a long time ago that knowing too much kills the truth." "What do you mean?" "If I know what's coming, I anticipate it. If I anticipate it, I prepare for it. If I prepare for it, I perform preparation instead of discovery. The audience sees the difference, even if they can't name it." He started to leave again, stopped, turned back once more. "You wanted me to understand the full story, but my character doesn't get to understand the full story. He has to live through it without knowing what happens next. That's what I give him, the gift of not knowing. He walked away. The director stood there, understanding for the first time what he'd been too arrogant to see before. 6 weeks later, they shot the climactic scene, the one where Brando's character discovers the betrayal. Information the audience had known for 40 minutes. Information revealed in scenes Brando hadn't read. They called action. The other actor delivered the news. Brando's face changed. Real surprise, real hurt, real confusion, because he hadn't known it was coming. The director watched the monitor, saw genuine reaction instead of performed reaction, saw the moment happen instead of being presented. "Cut," he called quietly. The set was silent. Everyone had felt it. "Print that," the director said, moving on. Brando walked off the set. The director turned to the producer standing beside him. "That's why," the director said. "What?" "That's why he doesn't read the full script. He stays genuinely reactive." The producer nodded. "Took you 6 weeks to figure that out?" "Took me 6 weeks to admit I was wrong." "And firing him? Biggest mistake I've made, and the best thing that could have happened." "Why?" "Because now I know the difference between control and trust." The film wrapped on schedule. The director cut it knowing he had something special. Not because of the script, not because of the direction, because of what Brando had given him by refusing to do it the director's way. At the premiere, the discovery scene played, the one where Brando learned the truth, the reaction so real it hurt to watch, because it was real, because he hadn't known it was coming. After the screening, the director found Brando. "You were right about the script." "I know." No smile, no warmth, just fact. Brando walked out. The director stood there, holding a film that worked because he'd lost a fight on day one. The film released to critical acclaim. Brando's performance called lived in, authentic, unrehearsed. In one interview, the director was asked about working with Brando. He never read the full script. Why not? The director thought about the firing, the replacement, the phone call, the choice between being right and getting what he needed. Because he's smarter than I was. On the first day of production, Marlon Brando refused to read the full script. The director fired him. 3 days later, the director called him back. Brando returned, still hadn't read the script, never did. The film became one of the best either of them made. Because sometimes, being difficult isn't about being difficult. It's about knowing what you need to do the work and refusing to compromise it, even when it costs you everything.